California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda, it's all about you. Start the new year off right with a great deal and a new Honda. And get top dollar for your trade.
Turn your car into cash today and take advantage of low APR financing at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's down here. Stockton Honda.com.
#1 claim based on 2020 total new car sales from American Honda Motor Company Zone 1 report.
For the new year, the Odyssey Tri-Hot 5K is a blade unlike any other with unmatched forgiveness and forward CG. Odyssey 11 reshaped the mallet and redefined performance. And the iconic White Hot from Hagen Oaks is back in a big way. Ask about the full line of Odyssey putters at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, the #1 choice for golfers everywhere. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway or online at HagenOaks.com.
New Year!
And it's all on sale now. The absolute best living rooms, bedrooms, dining rooms, mattresses, home office, and more.
Save in every department.
And we're proud to offer so many choices during this special sale. Naturewood. You know, the building with the water wheel.
Tell them Brooklyn and Nova sent you.
Find more jobs on thenewmonster.com. Jobs for night owls, early risers. Jobs for people who do their best thinking in the morning, or the evening, or the shower, or with TV cameras pointed in their face. Jobs for people who like the way they look in scrubs, or in cowboy hats, or tool belts. Even jobs for people who think they have a voice for radio. With more advice and jobs for career switchers, new grads, and digital nomads, Monster has all you need to find the right fit. Go to thenewmonster.com or download our app today.
Mucinex is the #1 OTC brand doctors trust for themselves and their families. When you have cough and chest congestion, you need a medicine that's effective and long-lasting. So with cold and flu season upon us, why would you use anything else? Mucinex 12-hour DM extended release bilayer tablets allow for immediate and extended release, relieving cough and chest congestion for 12 hours. Grab Mucinex and put yourself back in control. Use as directed.
Matter of fact, most of them are already fully booked. Even though some events have already started, the Winter Olympics opening ceremonies happen tomorrow morning. If you want to watch them live, you're going to have to get up at like 3:30. That's our time. But you can watch them on primetime coverage tomorrow evening. And today is National Wedding Ring Day, of all days. And Fender Guitars has announced that they have released a line of guitar-inspired bands featuring materials and designs inspired by their electric guitars.
Watch Stinchfield tonight and find out why. Men, your health isn't about any one problem. Whether you're struggling with your weight or dealing with symptoms of low testosterone or ED, you need a specialized healthcare professional who understands the big picture. So, I want to tell you about Revive Men's Health. For the last 10 years, Revive Men's Health has helped tens of thousands of men with clinically backed treatments for low T and ED. Now Revive Men's Health is bringing this breakthrough approach to weight loss. Revive will create a weight loss plan specifically for you, built on custom nutrition and metabolism boosting treatments that are backed up by ongoing support to make sure you keep that weight off. Revive Men's Health specializes in custom treatments. So what are you waiting for? This month only, Revive Men's Health is offering free initial consultations and an exclusive weight loss offer. Bring in a friend and you'll save 25% when you both start your weight loss program. Call 844-4REVIVE to schedule your free, personalized, and confidential consultation today. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com to schedule an appointment.
With an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-484-1742. Vehicle protection plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-484-1742 now for your free quick quote.
From owning. With a 1.99% rate, 2.589 APR fixed for the first 10 years, you can lower your rate and payment and save thousands in interest.
Call 833-2-OWN to lock in a 1.99% rate, 2.589 APR today, or visit owning.com.
Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/trial. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right. Free at ZipRecruiter.com/trial. That's ZipRecruiter.com/trial.
Yet when it comes to workers' comp insurance, you rarely get the savings you deserve. That's because insurance companies tend to lump you in with other businesses, and you could get overcharged. At Pi Insurance, we're on a mission to change that. With Pi, you get a quote specific to your business, and you could save up to 30% with no hassle and no hidden fees. If you like savings, take 3 minutes to see how much you could save at trypi.com. Pi makes workers' comp insurance as easy as pie, with friendly representatives just a call away. No wonder customers rate our service excellent on Trustpilot. You work hard to build your business and keep your employees safe. You deserve more from your workers' comp provider. See how much you could save with Pi Insurance. Ask your agent for Pi or get a quote today at trypi.com. That's TRYPIE.com.
Now,
and Doug.
Don't you just love the smell of old books?
This is a library.
Sorry, ma'am. We're looking for a book titled Liberty Mutual Customizes Your Car Insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I don't think we carry that, but check the
He really does devour literature.
Please leave.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
El social de nuestros refrigeradores y nuestras cinturas han sufrido. Sin embargo, a Skechers le gustaría ayudarlo a volver a encarrilarse con nuestro increíble calzado GoWalk. Porque una vez que pones el Skechers GoWalk, son tan cómodos que estarás inspirado para salir y empezar a caminar. Skechers es una empresa de tecnología de confort y GoWalks. Están completamente cargados con toda la comodidad y el rendimiento e innovaciones que necesita. Encuentra el calzado para caminar número 1 del mundo. Skechers GoWalk para hombres y mujeres en Skechers.com. Una tienda Skechers o donde se venda calzado con estilo.
This year. 1. There are thousands of dollars worth of new tax credits on the table. 2. You have to file for them to make sure you get the right amount. 3. A Jackson Hewitt Tax Pro will help track down every credit you deserve. Tax credits for being a parent, taking care of a parent, going to school, and so much more. You don't want to miss out on thousands. Jackson Hewitt knows that. Discover thousands in tax credits and get your biggest refund guaranteed. Learn more at jacksonhewitt.com.
Who work behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor would say.
If it's something you want, just go after it and try it.
Then there's the Mosers, who may mention from the seat of their John Deere Gator UTV.
You can't be all working that play.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. Learn how to make the most of yours at Deere.com. Nothing runs like a Deere.
You're gonna get it when you get home. Sure enough, I grabbed my box, I flipped it open. The officer gets to the window. You know why I stopped you?
'Cause you can smell it.
Friday, March 18th, Stockton Arena. Tickets on sale at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss them, Stockton. Friday, March 18th, Stockton Arena. Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias back on tour.
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Charlton of Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe by me and people who love sports all spare and love it. Where I want to say today is a beautiful February the 3rd, 2022. From the point that's Bondor, there's many beaches. I love saying welcome to the show. You can follow Big C Sports all around the world as we get ready for the Olympics all around the world on 23 podcast applications all over the universe. Really do appreciate that. You can follow Big C Sports on Google Podcasts, Alexa, Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, iHeart-Radio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, and also Podchaser. You ever chase something down? I gotta catch my breath. Gotta chase down some chase down my breath. I really appreciate that. You can also follow Big C Sports on Geo Savon Podcast out of London, England, Podtail, YouTube, Hubhopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Repod Podcast, Luminary, listen notes podcast-wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, and then All Feeds Podcast is allfeeds.ai. That's artificial intelligence. Give artificial intelligence some praise. I say, come on, y'all, give it some praise. You can also follow Big C Sports, streaming all around the world on 4 TV platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Xfinity, Comcast TV, and then Amazon and Fire TV all over the universe. Really do appreciate that. A lot of good things are happening in the world of sports. The Olympics are starting, and now we're getting ready for the Super Bowl too. There's so much to be excited about in the sports universe. You can find out more just following Big C Sports Podcast. I like to pay homage to my family legacy on my mother's side. My great-grandmother called her Mama. She's just a wonderful, wonderful grandmother, making sure everybody stuck together and kept food in our bellies. And then my great-grandfather, Pop, former Negro League baseball player known around the church as making the best moonshine in the universe. It's if boys get out of that barn. I think that's funny. A lot of things come to my mind when I think about that. Also, my grandmother, Mud Deer, just a wonderful person, a very smart businesswoman, and a seer, could look at people and tell you everything about them. Really had to appreciate her ability to do that. And then my grandfather, Hezekiah, also another wonderful person, did everything he could to keep everybody strong. My beautiful mother helped start a Head Start program, a food program, and also helped win the Little League Championship of the universe. Give mama some praise. Come on, I say some praise. A Head Start program, a food program to make sure that nobody went to bed hungry, and then also help win the Little League Championship of the universe. Always saying rise and shine. Really do appreciate that. On my father's side, the matriarch of the family, Alberta Curry, just a wonderful person, businesswoman, making sure that family stays strong. Helped my grandfather with 2 service stations in Oakland, California. Also had 2 churches in Oakland and built one in the Central Valley. My grandfather, Albert Curry, the patriarch of the family on my father's side, just a smart businessman, always developing his mind to the highest extent. Owned 2 service stations in Oakland, California, as well as 2 churches. Built a 3rd church in Central California, always working hard and rising and shining. My father, former retired Air Force fighter pilot and chief mechanic, making sure that planes can fly high so we could all stay safe at night. My beautiful brother, Todd. Todd had his voice sound like thunder and lightning when Todd would speak. One of our favorite movies was Pulp Fiction, and I love that thing. Todd and I would laugh about it. That stinging sensation you feeling, that's pride messing with you. Blank pride. Always reading, always grinding. I also want to say, very happy to always acknowledge my beautiful daughter, Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. A college graduate, double majors, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years, major university. Really do appreciate that. Would help me set up with sports coaches when they came to the West Coast, doing things with Big C Sports. My handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. Very smart, intelligent, hardworking, college student, has a lot of great things ahead of him, and also gives me stats on NBA basketball, knows it inside and out. Always appreciate that, Malcolm. And then Big C, with all his wealth of knowledge in the past, give everybody some praise. I said give everybody praise. The great Radio Raheem, and do the right thing. Wake up! I love that. Give it praise. My pastor says, why you always say praise on the radio show? I said, it's that you say it in the church. It's all friend level. I really do appreciate that. You know, one of my things my great-grandfather started back in the day, he said, let's get ready to rumble! He actually said it first before a lot of boxing promotions. They stole it from him. But welcome to the show, ESPY-nominated Big C Sports Podcast. No scripts, no 3-way teleprompters, no producer in my ear, just an earplug, and a little bit of earwax keeps me warm at night. Also, I always honor God. I talk and walk by faith, not by sight. I always love saying this because it's true. I produce the shows, I direct the topics, I broadcast the shows, and then the sound effects are provided by the agency. Really do appreciate that. Everybody needs more laughter in their life. And then the commercials are done. I do the stats providing, the storytelling, the play-by-play. It's like you heard just a couple days ago, Chris Paul for 3. Give that good a bunch of praise. The Phoenix Suns are rising. I'm going to have them covered in my Big C's NBA Power Rankings coming up in just a moment. And then also I upload the show. It goes out to 23 podcast applications all over the universe. Really do appreciate that. And then it goes out to 4 television platforms streaming Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock p.m. all over the world, but that's Pacific Standard Time. And I love quoting scriptures in the Bible. I've never missed a show since starting Big C Sports September 12, 2015. And I think that Big C Sports is the only sports show in the universe that constantly honors God. One of my favorite scriptures growing up that I heard as a little boy is Genesis chapter 13, verse 15. It said, "For all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever." In the book of James chapter 4, verse 2 said, "You have not because you have not, because you ask not." If you want something, just got to ask and give asking some praise. Come on, y'all, give me some praise. And when you pay your tithes, I don't want to hear anything that makes noise. That's one for the pastor. That's all fair and level war. Hey, it's all fair and level war. I really want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, God said, "Let there be light." Open your cell phone and say it. Play Big C Sports Podcast. You will see our app pop up all over the world. Really do appreciate that. Venturing into 2022, Big C Sports become part of a sports marketing agency and invited to do that with one of the top sports agents in the United States. Represents over $1 billion in clients, and just going to learn under his wing with this agency. Really do appreciate that. I'm just doing my certifications to get that done this year. And your sports marketing agents make a great deal of money. They wrote over $41 billion in contracts in 2021. And give that some praise. I know oftentimes people want to know where the next athlete is going. Is Tom Brady going to retire? Will Aaron Rodgers stay in Green Bay, or will he sign with the 49ers or Denver or wherever he's going to go? And will Russell Wilson stay in Seattle, or will he end up in Pittsburgh, or will he end up in Denver or another different city, maybe even New Orleans? I think he's going to stay up in Seattle. But I want part of this year, especially Black History Month, I want to focus on the Black Wall Street, because African-American agents are doing so much of an ascension into the world of sports. We know that oftentimes it's hard to get work because there's a good old boy system that's been set up. And think about this, the world's most powerful sports agents, they're making their money not playing athletics. They're making their money representing athletes. The world's leading. It's so important to know this, because it's changing things, and it's part of what I'm looking into this industry for. In fact, I was invited in to look into the industry. But the world's leading sports agents closed more than $41 billion in contracts in 2021, and some of them closed nearly $2 billion in commissions for their agencies. There were several deals that were within $500 million for a single athlete. There are also some agencies that negotiated contracts in excess of $100 million, 13 of those. 5 were above $200 million, and then there were 2 that are above $300 million. And then when you think about the number of athletes that are getting money with the help of sports agents, it's just amazing how much is out there. There's so many athletes that need representation. We hear of name, image, and likeness that a lot of college kids are getting hip to, understanding that. And then there's companies, agencies that created over think about this, over $160 million in commissions. Not scoring touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh man, Willie, he's going all the way. Nobody cheered. Nobody cheered when the agents signed that money, except for the athletes, of course. And that's why, for me being invited into that industry, it's important to me. It's a legacy for a family, for people that want to be a part of that. And even I want to talk some about the soccer coming up also. You know, soccer is a mega sport around the world. There's also an agent who negotiated over think about this, $1.4 billion in contract just because guys want to kick balls around. Could you ever imagine that kicking balls or playing with balls would be worth over $100 million? Think about that. You can laugh all you want, but sometimes you got to get outside and play with balls. And if it's worth $100 million, I'll play with more balls. Everybody get outside and play. Back when I was growing up, I don't know if it's the same way now, we had PE, physical education, and we got outside and we kicked around. Now, playing football, basketball, baseball, soccer, things of that nature, throwing the ball around. I think there was tetherball, there was dodgeball, so many things that included having a ball in your hand or even kicking it. I'm not talking to 12-year-old boys, right? But think about this, what I'm going to say. Sometimes we see things right in front of us. We were taught at PE all around the world to go outside and play with balls. Picking up balls and throwing them, hitting balls, throwing balls, shooting balls. Everything had to do with the ball. And then that was called the relaxation time. That's for your exercise. And then people were saying, come back into the classrooms where you do math and science and all the other things, chemistry, everything, reading, English, language, art, theater. But those industries do not pay $100 million. Think about that. And this is oftentimes overlooked because nowadays, and I'm not knocking anybody, I'm not the get off my lawn type, but nowadays so many kids, they have things that they use in their hand, whether it's the video games, they have the Madden 2022 thing for football or basketball or baseball, and they got into the playing with your hands, like play with whatever they're called, you can tell I don't really know what they are, but people play video games online all the time. And Mortal Kombat, those things, and those are not making you $100 million, but playing with balls. If people knew that playing with balls would make you $100 million, more guys would do it more often. And women too, go out and kick a ball. Football, basketball, baseball, soccer, badminton, tennis, golf ball. Look at how many people playing with balls will become rich. Next, today's show is play with balls. As many balls as you can. Go play with all of them. All over the universe. Even in the Olympics, they're playing with what? Balls. The balls on their feet, whatever it is. There's something about the balls that makes people wealthy. You would think everybody would be wealthy, if that makes sense to you. I'm just being silly, but it's true. The more you play with the balls, the more you're going to be wealthy in this country, because you get more money playing with balls than you do playing with math and science and arithmetic, and that's a fact. So go play with the balls, everybody. Everybody get a ball. You get a ball, everybody gets a ball. And make sure you play with them, and when you get good at it, you may become rich. And that's something. If you play with enough balls, you might even get to the Hall of Fame. I tell you, somebody knew what they were doing with physical education. But now we have kids that want to play video games, and nothing's wrong with that. You can do what you want to do, but being physically fit and exercising, that's what the sports industry is all about. So Big C Sports is going to be venturing into that in 2022. Just got to get my certification. And whether it's NHL, NBA, NFL, soccer, golf, there's a lot of money made. When you think about it, agent fees are typically capped about for the players and associations with the top commissions allowed, and FIFA is about 10%. So if someone makes a $100 million contract, then 10% of that is $10 million. That's a lot of money. And you'll see soccer. We saw a game played in the freezing cold last night in Minneapolis. When you think about that, there's so much to do with the world of sports. Why? Because they're playing with balls. You know, another sport, you can make a lot of money playing with balls if you represent as an agent. Major League Baseball caps out at a 5% for what? Playing with balls. Hit the pitch, swung on, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep. Whoever thought that playing with balls would make you a multi-millionaire? It's not the math and science. I'm not knocking it either. But think about that. Playing with balls makes everybody wealthy when you get good at it. You would think that it's a natural thing to do. Get outside and play. I was told when I was a young boy, go outside and play. NHL and NBA, they allow fees to hit about 4%. So if you are a $100 million contract for an NBA player or NHL player, then that agency makes about $4 million, if that makes sense to you. And then the NFL caps out at 3%. When you sign a $100 million deal, then you get about $3 million in that. I mean, come on. Give that some praise. Playing with balls has made people rich. Playing with balls has caused gambling to soar through the roof. Playing with balls has allowed the Supreme Court to make gambling legal in most states. Why? Because playing with balls. Go outside and play with ball. Play with something, but learn to master it. Get a coach. Come on, guys. That's something too. It's also good for your learning sportsmanship. So playing with balls, Big C Sports is going to be playing with more balls coming up in 2022. And speaking of that, for those of you who are out there betting, and you want to bet more. I really appreciate, I saw Coach Steve Mariucci that I first met when he was a head coach for the San Francisco 49ers. And I remember when Terrell Owens caught the play against Green Bay, it was a playoff game. It was on 4th down, and it was Steve Young back to pass. Those over the middle, caught by Owens. That was the great Joe Starkey. He was the announcer at that time for the 49ers. Now you have Greg Papa. It would have been said, Papa would have said, Young back to pass, Owens over the middle, caught for the touchdown! San Francisco! So they changed announcers, but they have their own flavor. But they all make money by playing with balls. And when you think about playing with balls, some people, they bite off more than they can chew. And they spend money they don't have. I heard some people talking about, are they going to bet? I think they have the All-Star game, NHL, or the NFL, the All-Star game, the Pro Bowl game is down in Las Vegas over this weekend. There's a lot of people playing with balls, rolling the dice. You got to roll the dice. You know, it's just amazing how many people get in trouble because they always think they can do more than they should. And oftentimes the casinos will serve you liquor. I've heard people say, man, they gave me free drinks, but they went down and spent more money than they could afford. But if you have any issues or you know anyone who does, you can call 800-GAMBLER. That's 800-GAMBLER, G-A-M-B-L-E-R, 800-GAMBLER, and get some help. So I'm really proud that the sports leagues are saying, yeah, play with all the balls you can, but also get some help as you're playing with those balls. 800-GAMBLER, really do appreciate that. Also, I want to say, very happy to give out this PSA, the Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. If you know any veterans going through issues, it can also be that person in the mirror. Pick up the phone. Call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. And they will stand on their head to get you some help. You can also go online and go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net, and give the Veterans Crisis Hotline some praise. Come on, give our first responders some praise. We all need help. When you call in, they do a good job making sure that people get the help, and they really do need it. Really do appreciate that. I also want to say, as I'm doing the Big C Sports Show, I really love thanking sponsors. I want to say thank you to Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% honest game, sports fans. When you're watching the big game, you want to eat the Big C Burger. It is a very tasty burger, and it comes with what's all these exotic meats. It also goes great with the Big C coffee. It's such a large cup. It only comes in one size, extra large. Why is the cup so big? It only comes in one size. If you have too much coffee, you can also save some for the next day. Oh, I really do love it. I can't wait for the Big C Burger with the Ram and the Bengals. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with all this exotic meats, and a Ram and a Bengal are actually exotic meats. I really do appreciate that. I'm telling you, sports are amazing. I have so much respect for athletes because they play with balls, and they do it for a fortune. The Winter Olympics, opening ceremony for the 2022 Winter Olympics. And when you think about it, finally here, NBC Sports has you covered with all you need to know about the opening ceremony, including the start time and the TV schedule and how to watch it. And it's here. It's like they say, we're back. Opening ceremony at 2022 Winter Olympics takes place Friday, February the 4th, at National Stadium, also known as the Bird's Nest. And that stadium previously hosted the opening and closing ceremonies of the 2008 Summer Olympics, also served as the venue for track and field, as well as the men's 2008 gold medal. Okay, what were they doing? The gold medal soccer game. What were they doing? Kicking around balls. Give that some praise. Give playing with balls some praise. Playing with balls is so helpful. It's so important. They've made sports out of it. Come on, y'all. I'm telling you, they're kicking off playing with balls, and the 2008 gold medal soccer game kicked off there. And the Bird's Nest will host any sporting competition during the 2022 Winter Games. And when you watch it on television, or some people are going to stream it on their device, the competition actually begins 2 days earlier with the round-robin stage of mixed doubles, and curling in February 2nd already underway. That already started. But for many of the pageantry of the opening ceremony marks the official beginning of the game. So as they say, let the games begin! Everybody gets a ball. You may not get a trophy, but you get a ball. Isn't that something? Golf ball, tennis ball, soccer ball, pool ball. Balls have made people wealthy. The live coverage starts at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time, February the 4th. You got to get up early if you're in the Western Hemisphere. But the NBCU first ever live morning presentation of a Winter Games opening ceremony. NBC and Peacock they're going to provide the unprecedented full-day coverage of this ceremony. And there's a lot of scheduled events. You can just check your devices to see how you can find out where they are. Speed skaters, Brittany Bowe and curler John Schuster will serve as the United States 2 flag bearers for the opening day of the ceremony of the 2022 Beijing Olympics Winter Games. Give that some praise. Give it praise, praise, praise. Whoever knew that playing with balls would make you rich? Whoever knew that TV stations would gather around and attract millions of people all over the universe to watch people play with balls? Isn't that something? Isn't that amazing? It's amazing when you think about it. Similar to last summer's Tokyo Olympic Games, each National Olympic Committee was able to select 2 flag bearers for the opening ceremony, 1 woman and 1 man. And that make some people upset in corporations in the United States. We got to have a man and a woman? Okay, maybe some people don't get that, but I do. It's okay to have equality. And when you think about it, there's a bobsledder, Elena Myers-Taylor, was selected as one of the flag bearers through a vote by the athletes of the United States Olympic team, but in isolation after testing positive for COVID-19 since arriving in Beijing. But it's all fair and love and war. People, this is a great time of year, especially when you love sports the way I do. From football, basketball, baseball, track and field. Imagine the sports agents that won't get cheered, but they're helping a lot of people sign buku contracts, and I really do appreciate that. But NBC, it's called NBCU's first ever live morning presentation of a Winter Games opening ceremony will be 6:30 a.m. Got to get up early for that. And then 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. this special edition of Today show featuring reaction to the opening ceremony at athlete interviews. Really do appreciate that. I had some athletes last year for the Summer Olympics out of Tokyo, Japan with Big C Sports. And then you have 12 o'clock to 3:30 p.m. on NBCU. And that will review the highlights of the opening ceremony and look ahead to the biggest storylines of the Winter Olympics with this first ever daytime show. 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. an enhanced primetime presentation of the opening ceremonies will focus on the athletes and Team USA in addition to traditional performances in pageantry and the Parade of Nations. Give that some praise. All the universe is gathered around to watch people compete, playing with balls and all those other things that we do. I really do appreciate the world of sports. It's a great thing for a lot of people to be a part of that. So pay attention. You can check with NBC or just check on your device. Google the Olympics and you can find out more about what's going on in the world of competition when it comes to the Olympics. And I hope that everything goes off with a hitch. I'm telling you what I love about sports too. I grew up very athletic household. I played football, basketball, baseball, track and field, martial arts, even did some soccer, even played a little bit of hockey growing up. Canada, oh, Canada, our home and native land. When you think about Canada, what they've done with the soccer team, Canada's set to reach this highest ever men's FIFA World Rankings. When you think about that, if you've been keeping tabs on the men's soccer teams, you might be looking out for Canada in the newest FIFA World Rankings. When I think about all the great things when it comes to world competition and playing with balls, they're ranked in the top in the world playing with balls. February 10th, Canada will be the 33rd in the world per footballrankings.com. That placement will be its highest ever ranking, topping their previous high of 40th set this past November and goes back to 1996 with 32 teams making the 2022 World Cup. The World Cup is so big. In fact, the World Cup is so big, people mistake it for the Big C Cup. They say it's a tasty cup and it comes with tasty coffee. Why does your cup have to be so big? And it comes with exotic meats, if that makes sense to you. But the World Cup, whenever you think about the World Cup, think about the Big C Cup. The biggest cup in the universe. You fill it with the coffee and save tomorrow what you don't have today, if that makes sense to you. But Canada's really pushing to be one of the world's top teams. Now in a 6-game win streak in World Cup qualifying, Canada sits atop the standings and jumped ahead of Australia, Tunisia, Russia, Turkey, Scotland with their latest push, and destinies in their hands. I just tell you, Canada's known mostly for NHL hockey and CFL football, but they also have great Olympics too, a lot of great Olympic teams. When you look at the standings, you have Canada, United States, also Mexico, Panama, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Jamaica, Honduras, and Canada's just one victory away from qualifying for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, and that's Canada's next international window comes in March with the final 3 qualifiers for the 2022 World Cup, and Canada will play host to Jamaica while taking trips to Costa Rica and Panama within as many of those games. Panama sniffing also their loss in their game against Honduras or the USA. Canada can officially punch its ticket to the world's largest soccer tournament. And I just want to say to everybody, there's something about the Olympic spirit that is amazing. The United States dropped down 2 spots to 13th, while Mexico moved up 2 spots to 12th. But it's all fair and love and war. And when you look about all the people all over the world that play soccer, all you need are your feet and a pair of soccer shoes. And you can go kick as many balls as you want, and you can get paid for it handsomely if you got an agent. Say yes to kicking balls. Go outside and play, boys. Now I understand. Go outside and play. Kick some balls and make some money, if that makes sense to you. I'm telling you, I'm really happy about the world of sports and how it gets together. And there's so many people that love it. So I just want to appreciate everybody that participated in playing sports and going outside playing with balls. There's another sport. When you play with this ball, a lot of people say, Steph Curry for 3! It's amazing. We think about some of the great basketball teams over the years, whether it's the Lakers or the Celtics or the Golden State Warriors, Cleveland, Miami, Houston back in the day, Dallas. I mean, there's so many great teams that have played basketball, and they make a fortune, just like I'm telling you, why I'm getting into the sports marketing agency. They make money playing with balls. Had I known playing with balls going to make me $100 million, I would have done it a lot sooner and a lot more often. You can't do. Come on, get at the three. It's not the time to be shy. I'm going to get into Big C's NBA power rankings. And again, this is my opinion. Everybody has their own opinion. Number 1, the Phoenix Suns. How good are the Suns? They went 13-1 in January, and that's their second best month so far. And they were 16-0 in November. They're a team that's playing very good basketball, and they learned to do what? They've learned to master playing with a basketball, and you can't do. That's what made them number 1 in the Big C universe so far anyway. Number 2 in Big C's NBA power rankings, the Golden State Warriors. I love the song back in the day. It was Warriors, come out and play. They all love coming out and play. The Warriors, amazing. Winners of 7 in a row, and they're now doing it on balance, the top 10 in the NBA in offense and defense over their last 8 games, with a lot of help from role players such as the great Jordan Poole, who had 31 against the Spurs. The great Draymond Green, he's also going to get a nod as an all-star game reserve. But you have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, those are the good old boys that can do their thing. You know what's also great about Big C's number 3 team in Big C's NBA power rankings? I'm going to say the Memphis Grizzlies. Them good old boys, they locked in as the number 3 seed. In the West region, when you think about this, they're 4 games up, number 4 seed Utah Jazz, 4.5 games back at number 2 Warriors, but they are a good team. They have the easiest remaining schedule in the NBA, and I like this team to make a strong push when it gets to the playoffs. You know, Grizzlies are also known for playing with balls. I mean, they're playing a great game of basketball. Great game of basketball. Number 4 in Big C's NBA power rankings, the Philadelphia 76ers. It's Philadelphia freedom. Fans in Philadelphia, not only do they love the Philly cheesesteak, they all love the Big C burger. They know it's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meat? It tastes better in your mouth than it does in your hand. But Philadelphia, you think about if they trade Ben Simmons and get things righted, Doc Rivers has his head right, aim for a championship run this year, or at least in the Eastern Conference. But, when you think about it, apart from Simmons, when I look at Joel Embiid and what he's doing for this team, he saw how Giannis Antetokounmpo played last year in the NBA Finals with a banged-up knee. And I think that motivated him to play through whatever's going through him. And I think it's going to help Philadelphia this year as they make their playoff run. Number 5 in Big C's NBA power rankings, I'm going to say if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. The Miami Heat. The Heat They are so solid. At the All-Star game, Cleveland, a few weeks from now, you're going to see it's hard to imagine the coaches will not pick the great Jimmy Butler as a reserve. He missed considerable time in the first half because of the issues with injuries and just trying to stay healthy. Bam Adebayo is definitely an all-star level player. This team has so much upside, but can they stay healthy? Number 6 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the defending NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks with King Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday are all on the court together this season. The Bucks still have a great rating, and they can play with the ball up and down the court. They get up and space the ball very well, and Giannis knows how to go to the basket as well as shoot his threes. So they're a very good team. When you think about how good they are, there are also times they can get blown out by 36 points. But they're a solid team, and I like them as number 6 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings. Number 7, Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the Cleveland. This is for you. The Cleveland Cavaliers is inactive by the deadline, trying to bring in more depth. But their best trade, when you think about it could be Ricky Rubio out for the season with a knee. That alone could not get going. If they could get Karis LeVert or even Eric Gordon, the Cavaliers set as a number 4 seed in the East. They're a good team, but can they stay healthy? Number 8 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas is an interesting team to watch heading into the trade deadline. Teams are calling and asking about Jalen Brunson or Dorian Finney-Smith, but the Mavericks have no intention of trading those guys. They got to get Luka Doncic to be what people thought he would be. It's not enough to be a title contender. They got to break through that first round of playoffs. You have also, can they trust the great Kristaps Porzingis? We'll see how that adds up for Dallas. Number 9 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. Hold on, my producer gave me the wrong script. See why it's hard to produce a show on your own? It is the Chicago Bulls. Look for them to add some depth at the trade deadline. Maybe Dennis Schroeder out of Boston. Maybe veteran Paul Millsap, the great Paul Millsap. The defense is still struggling. The great Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso out injured. They're a good team. They got blown out a couple of times, but they got to get their groove back. They're still a solid team. They just got to stay healthy. Number 10 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings. Man, you got to go a mile high to see the Denver Nuggets at the Mile High City. The East Coast Center is getting all the recent MVP buzz. But if there's a vote today, Nikola Jokic would likely win back-to-back awards based on some media writers. He's not going to be first must-see TV like when you get Steph Curry or, in my opinion, Joel Embiid or Giannis Antetokounmpo, but he's just solid. He's a solid player. He's even 7 triple-doubles in January, averaging 27 points a game, 13 rebounds and 9 assists. But it's quiet. It's a quiet assist, and that may cost him. He's not a thunder dunk kind of guy like the great Moses Malone back in the day. Number 11 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the Utah Jazz. Jazz have lost 5 in a row, went 4-12 in January, but they will get their groove back. They just got to jazz things up. The great Joel Ingles is now out for the season, and that hurts with the torn ACL. Donovan Mitchell missed the last 7 games due to concussion, but he's going to get better soon. And then the great Rudy Gobert, last 4 with a calf strain. That team has to stay healthy. They just got to stay healthy, and if they can, they have a chance to make some noise. A little bit disappointing. Coming at number 12. Maybe. I'm going to keep them number 12. When they're healthy, they're at least a top 3 team. But I'm going to say the Brooklyn Nets coming in number 12 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings. The Nets have gone 2-6 since the great King Kevin Durant went down with a sprained knee. And the problem's been the defense, which has 118.3 net rating in those games, 28th in the league. The great offense of stars like James Harden and Kyrie do it all by himself. Irving is amazing, must-see TV. It's held up well, getting stops in that big game. I saw him come out here and push the Golden State Warriors to the brink, but Golden State got back on top. But you look at how good Dr. Drew is, Kyrie Irving. Imagine when they get them all back to Big 3. Number 13, Big C's NBA Power Rankings. The Boston Celtics, Johnny Morris, Bird with the steal. Bird just passed. Bird off the backboard. It's the Celtics. Okay, I can't talk like Johnny Morris, but I remember one of the greatest broadcast voices in NBA basketball. Barry Bird for 3! Yeah, okay, I remember that. I can get that part of the late Johnny Morris down. But the Boston Celtics, no longer at Boston Garden, but playing at TD Gardens, leading into the deadline. The team looking to get some players to build around the great Jason Tatum, who has superstar Superman carved all over him. And then Jaylen Brown, not trade one, that duo, don't trade him. I think you have point guard Dennis Schroeder likely going to be dealt to Chicago. That's a rumor. The Josh Richardson rumors are even present. A lot of people are making inquiries about Marcus Smart. This is a good team. They just got to get their groove. Number 14, Big C's NBA Power Rankings. Oh, Canada, our lone and favorite team, the Toronto Raptors, playing its best basketball of the season late, having won 3 in a row, 2 over the Miami Heat and once over Atlanta. They won 5 of 7. They have a top 10 defense during that stretch. They're a really good basketball team. Number 15, Big C's NBA Power Rankings. The Charlotte Hornets, those good old boys in Charlotte. I'm telling you, they're a good team. Melo Ball is on the cusp. He's finally out when Dan Philman. And think about this. There's so many good players. But when you think about this team, Jordan has given them the game plan for winning, the owner. And I think LaMelo Ball has the most fan votes of anyone not likely selected. Adam Silver naming replacements tends to follow the fan vote. So other than, I think what about it, LaMelo Ball likely plays. I like him. Miles Bridges deserves to be an all-star, but a lot of things have to happen for that team. Number 16 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the Hawks, the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta is the streakiest team in the NBA. In November, they lost 6 straight, then turned around and won 7. Isn't that something? Won 7 in a row. In January, lost 5 in a row before bouncing back with another 7-game winning streak. They got to figure out how to stay consistent. The Hawks are doing it on both ends with a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense. Number 17 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the Minnesota Timberwolves. When you think about Patrick Beverley, that talk about being traded around the league, the Timberwolves team pushes to make the postseason. They sit number 7 right now as a 7th seed and the top spot in the play-ins, but it's going to be tough to climb the 2.5 games to number 6 seed to avoid that play-in game. Got to see how they do it. Karl Anthony Towns is all but a lock to be named an all-star reserve. Number 18 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the Los Angeles Clippers. Without the great Kawhi Leonard, the claw, and without Paul George for an extended time. Man, they got to figure out how to get things done. Credit coach Tyronn Lue. If they can get things done, he's done a massive job so far this year. Again, when they get the claw back and keep they got to get Paul George in the claw to even be a contender in the Western Conference. A team that comes in number 19 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the Los Angeles Lakers. I know, don't laugh. It's hard to find a bright spot for the Lakers right now. They just don't seem to stay healthy. Either LeBron's out or Davis is out or Westbrook is still trying to get his groove back. They went 2-4 in their road trip and then came from ahead and lost to the Hawks on Sunday. It was a tough blow, but the Lakers, the league leading 11th time the Lakers have blown a double-digit lead and lost the season. I'm telling you, they're a good team. They just don't have a good chemistry right now. They got to find that. Number 20 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the New York Knicks. They traded for Cam Reddish, but they hasn't been able to crack Tom Thibodeau's rotation. If the Knicks front office looking for a trade perimeter player, Evan Fournier, Alex Burks, or Kemba Walker, they got to find a way to keep the guards or the crowd at Madison Square Garden happy. New York's a great destination. They're not maybe the greatest organization. Maybe they're thinking that last year was going to be a rollover to this year. Hasn't seen that so far, but I'm going to come out to the West Coast for Big C's. Number 21 NBA Power Rankings, the Portland Trail Blazers, one of the hottest teams when you think about it, but never really making it there. There's a lot of interest from contenders in Robert Covington, but names of Ben Lacklamore and Yusuf Nurkic are bounced around as well. And then there's CJ McCollum. I mean, you got to keep those guys happy. But Portland seems to be a team that's always in the push, but never enough to really get through it. I know they got swept by Golden State that last time they made a big playoff push, and that hurt them a lot. Dollar Dame, got to keep Dollar Dame happy. I always thought that he stayed there maybe a year too long. I mean, Tom Brady could leave New England and go to Tampa and win. Maybe Dollar Dame could leave Portland and go somewhere. But he has a lot of trust and a lot of whatever it is, loyalty. I'm just going to run through the number 22 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the San Antonio Spurs, followed by number 3, the Washington Wizards, number 4, Indiana Pacers, number 5, the New Orleans Pelicans, love Pelicans, number 26, the Orlando Magic, number 27, the Sacramento Kings, number 28, the Detroit Pistons, followed by number 29, the Oklahoma City Thunder, number 30, the Houston Rockets, and just for my producer to wake up, the Oklahoma City Thunder coming in at number 29. I'm going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When I come back, we're going to talk about a few more things in the sports universe. In the words of former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all over the universe. Sport TV applications, really do appreciate that. So I just gave you Big C's NBA power rankings. I'm going to go through tonight's schedule, Thursday, February 3rd, so I can get to bed early to wake up early enough to watch the Olympic opening ceremony. Minnesota at Detroit, Miami at San Antonio, down in the great state of Texas. Phoenix. Can they cook those birds in Atlanta? You'll find out on TNT. Phoenix Suns at the Atlanta Hawks. And then Chicago up in Canada taking on Toronto. And then you have the Sacramento Kings in a Northern California clash with the Golden State Warriors at beautiful Chase Center. That game tips off at 7 p.m. tonight. And then the LA Lakers in the battle for LA taking on the Clippers on TNT. And, of course, they're at Crypto.com Arena All-Fair in Leavenworth. Looking forward to a lot of good guys having a lot of success down in Los Angeles. So much to go on in the world of sports. There's so much happening in the world of sports that people love. You know, I love it too. In fact, the fact that we have talked so much about sports and how many people can really stomach sports because of the bias and the lack of diversity in the world of sports. I know sports is a billion-dollar industry, and it's not a perfect sport. We know racism exists, sexism exists, homophobia exists. A lot of isms exist because people are not perfect. But if you love something, you try to fix it. And I would love to see, I love what Brian Flores did to come forward with the lawsuit against bias treatment. There are a lot of people that say, oh, there's no merit to what he's doing. How do they know? They haven't looked into it. If they say they want to be inclusive, liberty, and justice for all, at least look into it. The court's going to look into it. It'd be nice if the NFL would just be willing to look into it. You would think they would want to get rid of racism and sexism in their sports. So why would you just shout it down when somebody says they've been discriminated against? Oh, no, you haven't. Imagine a woman saying, I've been assaulted by someone in a position of power, and the organization says, no, you haven't. It lacks merit. The woman says, what? I got the evidence. Well, we don't think it's credible. Why would you do that without even looking into it? Look at what's happened to Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is an African-American man, and he has been accused by 22 women of something that he said he did not commit. And you know what happened to him? They wouldn't even let him play football this year because of allegations. The NFL they forced John Gruden out because Mark Davis didn't want to let him go, knowing he was a racist and a sexist and a homophobe. Mark Davis said, so a lot of guys are. And Mark Davis said he didn't want to fire him, but he said his hand was forced. And the NFL made him get rid of John Gruden. So if it's okay to get rid of someone who's accused of assault, not proven, just the accusation. If it's okay to get rid of someone who has been proven through emails to be racist, sexist, misogynistic, homophobic, they got rid of John Gruden. So why is it when someone accuses an owner of racist treatment and unfair hiring practices, why do we say, oh, it lacks merit? Because they're protecting the good old boy standards. And I like what Brian Flores is doing. I think he's going to win his lawsuit, but I would hope that our decent owners would say, we don't want that type of bigotry in our organizations, in our oligarchy of power. But maybe John Gruden was right. He said, I'm not the only one who has these thoughts. Look at all the emails. I got proof. NFL said, well, your proof, the emails lack merit. Why wouldn't they even look into it? Because a lot of things lack merit. You can be accused of anything. It doesn't mean it's true. I remember when I was in high school, I was playing with balls like a lot of people do. I didn't know how much money I could make playing with balls or just talking about playing with balls. But I was in the PE class and we were playing hockey. But I was called to the office and they were telling me they were going to expel me from school. I was 16 years old. And they said, we're going to expel you from school. I said, why? I was all sweaty. And they said, because we have proof that you were off campus, you were in a fight with some other kids. And I said, no, I wasn't. They said, well, we have proof that you were out, and we've already made our choice. And so they called my mother. She came up to the school, and she said, so what's going on? And they said, well, your son was off campus, and he was in a fight. We know because somebody told us. And she said, were you off campus? I said, no, Mama. And she said, well, who told you? He said, well, we already came to our decision. She said, well, did you call his teacher? And he said, well, no. She said, why didn't you call the class to see if he was in class? My coach's name was Coach Scott. And he's very well-known coach in California. And so they called Coach Scott to the office. He said, yeah, Charlton was in class the whole time. And my mother told the teacher or the principal, a white guy, you owe him an apology. And he dropped his head and turned bright red. And he said, well, you know, I'm sorry, but I heard. She said, no, but you should have just called the teacher and verified it. And now you have my son not trusting you. Not only do you owe him an apology, you owe him an apology in writing. That man felt so embarrassed, but he was willing to throw me under the bus. As a young black boy, 16-year-old, he was probably 50-something, out of shape, and he's going to tell me I'm going to be expelled from school. That would have stuck to me to this day. But my mother stood up for me, just like Brian Flores is standing up for other black kids. And people say, well, you can't stand up to the principal. Oh, yes, I can, because she knew her rights, and she also knew the judges in town. So not only did he write an apology letter, I think he ended up being away from the school for a couple of weeks because he was willing to openly discriminate. And he had no merit to his claim, to his accusation. You always should have a right to face your accuser. It's one of the things I hate most of being accused of something I did not do. If you think I did it, ask me. If I did it, I'll tell you. If I did it, I'll apologize. But don't just accuse me of it and then going to expel me from school. So when I see what happened to Brian Flores and people say, well, you know, he's going to make waves, you know, he's going to make it hard to get a job. No, he won't. Because the truth shall set you free. And that's what Brian Flores is saying. He wants opportunities for everybody. The only person that should have been expelled was that principal. And if the ownership of the Miami Dolphins is paying in any other team, if they're not only discriminating against African Americans but looking for jobs, they already hired a white guy, they're going to bring him in for an interview anyway after the fact. And Bill Belichick was texting his friend, hey, congratulations on your job. And Brian Flores was like, I haven't even interviewed yet. He said, oh, wrong person, wrong Brian. So is Bill Belichick on the inside? Was he trying to help Brian Flores out? Or is he part of that good old boy network? Who knows? He's kept opportunities for coaches that coach for him. I would like to give Bill the benefit of the doubt. That's what I would like to do. But Brian Flores is standing up for himself because a lot of people are afraid. My mother wasn't afraid to stand up to a man that was trying to ruin her son and expel me from school for something I did not do. She stood up to him. You got to stand up for people. How many people have been accused of things they did not do and no one's there to stand up for them? That affects people. It affects you when you have your resume. It affects you when they look at your transcripts. Imagine if that's on my label. I was expelled from school. For what? Something I did not do. Did it matter to that white man? No, it didn't. But if the ownership of the Miami Dolphins is paying coaches to throw games, that's illegal in the NFL. How many bettors are thinking you're going to win, but your owner's paying you to throw the game? That gets into an underworld that people don't want to be. They just don't want to be a part of that. There's an underworld to sports also. Not everybody plays fair. And so if you're being told you better throw this game, boy, if not, you're going to lose your job. Who are the owners in bed with? Who's got them by the sack, if that makes sense to you? I think in the movie Scarface, but ironically was filmed down in Miami, Florida. Al Pacino, Tony Montana said, all I got in this world is my word and my balls. And I don't compromise them for nothing and no one. But there's a lot of owners that are telling people to go out and do what we want you to do, even if it's illegal, collusion, all that jazz. So I'm proud of Brian Flores. And I want to see how many other owners will come to his aid to say this is not tolerated. We're not going to tolerate collusion. We're not going to tolerate fixing games and throwing games. Sports is already a multi-billion-dollar industry. And we're not going to have an owner of a team being able to own a team if you're paying your coaches to throw games. And if they don't do it, you're fired. Oh, you know, he's just a rubber rouser. He doesn't get along with anybody. He's just here to make noise. No, Brian Flores is a man of character, and I respect that. And we also gave him a standing ovation. Give him a standing ovation for being a man of character. We all need men of character. You should have character too. The Olympics starts in the morning. If you can get up early enough to watch them play with balls. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Bodini Brown. And he used to tell Ollie as he was punching the punching ball, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. With all you've got to use. After you lose, Ollie would say, I'm so pretty. I float like a butterfly, I sting like a bee. I can't possibly be beat. I'm so light on my feet. All these Big C burgers make me rumble, rumble, rumble. My tummy's hungry. I also like the Big C coffee. But why does the company have to be so large? Can't drink all that coffee in box. I really do love sport. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, pick up the phone and ask for help. Because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports Show, we thank you. We appreciate you. And we hope that you have a super fantastic day. And may everybody enjoy the Olympics. And you got to get up early enough in the morning to watch it. But you got to watch the Olympics and enjoy it. And go USA! 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 USA!